Hello everyone, today we're making a very classic Middle Eastern sandwich, beef shawarma. Now this recipe is definitely not authentic, this is just my version of it. So I'm actually gonna go with a beef ribeye just because I love the fattiness of the actual meat. A lot of times people use beef tenderloin just because it's a lot more tender, but I really like the fattiness that the ribeye includes. Now it's probably more traditional to use lamb instead of beef, but I prefer the beefy flavor that we get nowadays. Now at the end of the day, do what you prefer. I'm just giving you the simple basics of how to get a good flavored beef shawarma sandwich. You want to thin slice your ribeye or whatever meat that you prefer. Try to get them as thin as possible. So typically the shawarma skewer is on this little pit that's spinning and then the meat is shaved off as it roasts. So we're gonna try to imitate that as much as possible. So we're gonna get these thin shaved pieces, but we're not gonna do it where they're just like the Philly cheesesteaks where they're extremely thin. We want them to have a little bit more texture, I guess. No matter what the protein that's usually being used on the spit, there's always a layer of meat, nice, and a layer of fat that's always rendering down onto that meat and giving it a lot of flavor. With that being said, I'm gonna keep all the fat that's part of the ribeye just so it flavors that meat just like it would on the spit. You want beautiful thin strips just like this. Look at the beautiful fat and marbleization that these pieces of steak have. That's why I prefer ribeye over any other cut. Now I got everything nice and beautifully sliced up and it's time to show this meat some love. You want to go in with a nice hefty pinch of salt, a bunch of garlic powder, a little bit of turmeric, a bunch of ground cardamom. Cardamom is strong, so be careful. A nice amount of onion powder, a bunch of paprika. I like to go in with a little seasoning salt, just a dash of cinnamon, cayenne pepper for a kick, just a dash of nutmeg, a little ground cumin, a tiny bit of allspice. Now it's a lot of spices, but that's why the meat is so flavorful. We're gonna go in with the juice of a lemon. Now when the shawarma's on the spit and it's getting hit with the flame, it's getting a very nice char and a smoky flavor. To resemble that smoky flavor, one way to add that nice smokiness is to add some liquid smoke. It's very strong, so you don't want to add too much. But just because we have a lot of meat, I'm just gonna go in with a little generous amount. And to finish off with this lovely concoction, we're gonna go in with some white vinegar. And you don't wanna go crazy on the white vinegar just because we added the lemon juice. And then we wanna give everything a nice little mix. That smells good. It smells real good. So for optimal flavor, you wanna marinate overnight. The meat will get injected with all those seasonings and lemon juice and vinegar and everything. But you can cook this the same day. Give it a couple hours just to really absorb all those flavors, especially because the meat is nice and thin and very flavorful already, so you don't have to marinate overnight, but it would be really good the next day. So let's talk bread. Usually shawarma is in a pita bread. There's also, I forgot exactly what it's called, there's a style of bread that's like a rectangular charred bread that they use as well, especially for the lamb or the beef shawarma. Yeah, it's very thin and it's layered on, layered. Sometimes they layer it a couple of times. Listen, this is not authentic. I told you, have fun with it. Today I'm feeling a baguette. I saw these whole wheat baguettes at Whole Foods. I like them, so I bought them. I'm gonna make the shawarma in them. You could also do tortilla bread, pita bread, whatever you prefer. You don't have to make everything authentic. Just have fun with the food. So if you want something more authentic, use pita bread or that one bread that we just discussed. I honestly don't know the name of it in English. I know it only in Arabic. But I'm using a whole wheat baguette, as I mentioned, and there's tortillas in the fridge. Oh my God. There's tortillas in the freezer if we want to use them for other sandwiches or other purposes in general. So yeah, speaking of not authentic, let's talk sauce. I'm gonna usually do the typical tahina sauce that they do, which is sesame paste with yogurt, lemon juice, blah blah blah. I'm gonna add my nice little twist on it. I'm gonna add some cucumbers that I'm gonna grate down, some fresh mint and fresh cilantro. Now to a bunch of yogurt, I'm gonna go in with the sesame paste. You don't wanna go too crazy with the sesame paste because it's very strong in flavor. The juice of a lemon, nice pinch of salt. Now a bunch of that fresh mint, some of that fresh cilantro. Now we're gonna go in with a bunch of that grated cucumber. Now we're gonna finish off with a bunch of olive oil. Now give it a nice little stir. Now you wanna get your pan as hot as possible. I'm using a cast iron just so I could resemble that beautiful charred flavor on the steak. And I'm gonna go in with the steak. You should hear a very nice sizzle. Now after a couple minutes, your meat should be nice and beautiful, just like this. Now I carved out the baguette just so I could get a little bit more space, just to put a little bit more love in it. I'm gonna start off with a little bit of tomatoes, a few slices of pickle, your tzatziki hybrid sauce, shredded cabbage to piss people off, and now your beautiful shawarma meat. When you think you've added enough, add more. Now I'm gonna wrap it up in aluminum foil. Now we're gonna toast both sides for a couple minutes and you give it a nice little cut in half. Oh my, now look how beautiful that looks. It's not authentic, but it's delicious. Give it one more scoop of that yogurt sauce. As always, now bismillah. So the meat is so smoky and delicious, very strong in flavor. And then there comes the yogurt sauce to just cool everything down with the pickles and the tomato. It's money, baby. And there you have it, folks. Another one in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully that you benefited out of this recipe just like the rest of them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And much love, and I'll see you next time.